Watch out for the big boom. 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 Big boom, big boom. Big boom, big boom. Watch out for the big boom. Big boom.
Jam Boom Boom here. And this series is called The Big Boom Theory. What is the Big Boom Theory? We're going to figure that out together. Essentially, I'm setting out an intent. And that intent is to create an original process of taking a spark, an imaginative idea, creative idea with your imagination, putting it on a schedule, either drafting, sculpting, painting. In my case, it'll be drafting, writing, deriving materials to create a play, and rehearsing that play and producing it. And most importantly, capturing it here in the intersphere or internet webs. So go on this journey with me as we figure out the Big Boom Theory. But today, we're going to start with a mustard seed of an idea. So I was just talking about sculpting, painting, drafting, but let me be more specific and work within my medium. Let me close this. Work within my medium of creating art, and that is writing plays. So I have the idea and the concept for the play, and I have the title. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that you start with the title, though I do like to start with concepts and bigger ideas first, and then bring them down to get the details, the characters, the flow of the event, the environment, the setting, and whatnot. But I do have the title. And the title of this next play that I am devising is called The Big House. And that has a lot of different meanings and layers and meanings and layers. So this first part, and this is a continuation and a practice of the post that I made yesterday about putting your creativity on a schedule. It doesn't necessarily have to be with the time of the day as far as the weekday, maybe just any time that you can, but keeping in mind just what energy signatures you're working with each day and the steps that you're taking. These were just suggestions, but understanding what that is for yourself so that this creation process isn't so stressful. And maybe an ulterior motive or an ulterior intent is to take that behind the scenes, the BTS, in front of the scenes, so that we're relating on this end of how we create, and then we can get into the nitty gritty of like the content, which we'll still talk about here. We'll still talk about the content. I still love content, but form is something that I'm paying more attention to when it comes to creating these audio plays for now. So originally, I was gonna go scripted and have, things to look at and go off of and have my methods. Oh, today I'm gonna do this, which is how I usually go about creating, how I usually go about life. But that's another video. That's another topic of discussion. But I wanted to wing it in a sense that creating the spontaneity, even though I do have an idea, a concept for this video, creating that spontaneity as far as not points that I necessarily want to hit, but being surprised in the process of creating. So, I'm showing these already because just my tendency of just moving around when I'm speaking, going to get more solid, more sturdy. We're going to work on that. But today we are going to get into a method that is probably commonly known, but I'm just remixing it in my own way. I'm going to call it known, unknown, and what I want to be known. So those three topics, those 3 points, and then using Post-it notes if you have them, cutting up pieces of paper, some markers if you have them as well, and really just starting deriving the story. Actually, I'm not even going to hold myself back, and you shouldn't hold yourself back either. What do you know about your piece of your work of art. And I'll be more specific, but my hope is that this process can transfer over to any medium of creation, whether it's art or creating a curriculum, creating a science, creating a language, that these methods can transfer into different mediums. However, I'm going to work with what I know, and what I know is writing plays. So what do I know about the play? What don't I know about the play? What is unknown? And what do I want to know? So we got the handy dandy whiteboard here, and I'm going to write all of that here. Maybe not the Sharpie on the, yep, noted. Not the Sharpie on there. So let's see my angles. What I got. We'll do what is known. Hella glares, but I'll zoom in. What is unknown? You know what? Let me break this down. Like the knowing of something. Just because you know something doesn't mean that it's certain that that thing is what it is. You just have a knowing of what it is. Not to get too philosophical, but you just have a knowing. I just have a knowing of what I want to create, but that doesn't mean, and what I was getting by that, I'm not certain that I'll make my way to that conclusion. I just know that, right? We can know what we don't know. I know what I don't know. Shout out Nikki. Unknown. What don't I know? I'm already thinking of things, but I'm trying to stop myself, and I'm editing myself not to get into it right now, because I'm going to use the Post-it notes to do that. What is known, what is unknown, and what do I want to be known? So I'll leave that here. I'll say to be known. To be or not to be known. So let me make that distinction between to be known and unknown. It's on the slant. That's how I write. The difference between unknown and to be known, what's unknown you don't necessarily want it to be known. I'll just start preliminarily. Let me use, let's see if this works. Eat, test. All right, cool. It's awesome. It works. All right, so what is unknown about the big house? What is unknown about your work of art? What is unknown about the big house? I don't know how long it is, so I'll say, let me get close. I'm getting closer. Duration. I don't know the duration. I don't know how long this play is. Do I want it to be known? Well, I for the sake of a play, you want that to be known. You want to know the runtime. So I guess I'll put that. What color did I put there? I'll put that here too. But yeah, I don't necessarily know how long the play is going to be. So let's go back to what is known. So I do know the title. I'll write that here. I know the title. That's not always necessarily a good thing, because you could get stuck in that. But what I try to do, so the title is The Big House, but what I try to do is derive different meanings of that title. And all of these words have hella different meanings. So that idea of the big house, I know the setting. I'll put that somewhere too. I know the setting. So I know the title is The Big House, and I know the setting. The setting is a seafood restaurant called The Big House. It's also a play on words. The environment. Ooh, I got 3. Ding, ding, ding. All right, hold on. Environment. I know what I wrote. Like. So I know the title is The Big House. The setting is a seafood restaurant called The Big House, and the environment is Baltimore. Now, I might need to cite my sources on this. I'll come back, maybe timestamp this. But I believe that the city, the word Baltimore, is an Irish word that means the big house. Because I'm a huge etymology nerd. Yeah. So And then the big house referring to jail or prison, like the big house, the slammer. Let me put these down, not to get too ahead of myself. So known, I know the environment, I know the title, and I know the setting. That's cool. I win. It's like, all right, I know these things. Okay, so from there, shaky. So what I don't know is the names of the characters. Writing. Names of characters. Handwriting. I don't know the names of the characters, but I do know, to be known. Yeah, to be known. Okay, look, that to be known is going to be the gray area. So think of like that Venn diagram that they taught us in school. And you got the two circles that are on their own, and you have the middle, the gray area. So I know the names of characters, the number, I'll put the number sign of characters. I to be known, because essentially I want there to be 3, because last semester I took a playwriting class, and shout out to my professor. A lot of my drafts that I would turn in for our weekly assignments, I write audio plays, and I write audio plays. That's what I write. So submitting that and getting feedback from my professor, she would say something along the lines of, "You're writing for a movie. It's as if you're writing for a movie, and this is a theater. This is a play writing class, as in you're writing for the stage. So writing audio plays, there is essentially no restrictions. There's essentially no limits. If there's a sound effect for it, you can create 18 different locations in one play. But if you are producing a piece of theater or a play for the stage, and you're not writing in Broadway or the West End, you ain't gonna have 18 different transitions in one play. So at first, that stubbornness, that like, man, what do you know? But now, looking back at that feedback, I'm grateful, because now I'm challenging myself to write this play as if I'm writing it for the stage, so that it's something that can be heard, yes. And even now, thinking that there might be some tweaks that I want to do between the audio play and the stage play, but maybe not. Just so it can be easily translated, say that it does get picked up to get produced for the stage. So going back to the names of characters, unknown. I do not know the names of the characters. And I don't know the number of characters. I want there to be 3, but there might be more. There might be more. So, unknown. Names of the characters. Number of characters. And then, honestly, going back to that theme of characters, what I do know is the character roles. Did I say titles? The title. I know the title of the story. I know the character roles. Character roles. Does that make sense? Character titles? I'll say character titles, because like roles, it's a play. Like the role is the... But like character titles, as in, I know that there's a waiter. And I know that there's a fisher person. A ship's person. Yeah, that's what I mean by titles. Like their title within society. All right. Okay. All right. So just to give some more, I know, all right. I know the synopsis. I essentially know the synopsis. So what is the synopsis of The Big House? The Big House is a part of the Lost Dogs Chase Tales series, and it is a sequel to The Jaguar. So essentially what happens at the end of The Jaguar is that the Peaches character gets a call from the Jamal character, and Jamal is saying this like ominous kind of like parable over the phone, and then the phone click, click, and it hangs up. But essentially, Jamal is on the run from the feds, and Jamal takes refuge one night during a rainstorm, a thunderstorm, at a seafood restaurant called the Big House. And side note, quick break. When you're devising, when you're creating, drink your water. Shout out to Miss China Abundant. Drink your water. Hold on. We're not advertising. We're not advertising. All right, we're back. Water break. So, water break. Water, rainstorm, the Big House. Come on. So, Jamal takes refuge in the restaurant during this rainstorm, and essentially this is the setting, and this is where the main action goes on inside of the restaurant. So I do know the synopsis. No, let me not trip over this. Move back. You don't know me like that. So I do know the synopsis. I do not know the order of events. And to be known, boom. Unknown order of events. To be known, Bill Cosby. To be known, unknown order of events. To be known, order of events. What shall we call this phenomena when two subtopics fit underneath the topics? We'll call that something. Synchronicity? Yeah. The order of events. Known. So again, in your medium, whatever it is that you're creating, there's always going to be that wow factor or something that makes the listener or even you as the creator like lean in or tune in, or something that takes something off guard, or something that will be the most remembered. I might be saying like a few different things, but let me be more specific. So like with a song, what's always going to distinguish this song from the other song is if there's a bridge, and if in that bridge the singer is like, yeah, or that beat drops and it's like, oh. In a play or a movie or a show, it's going to be that moment of like, I'll call that the wow factor. I do sort of know what the wow factor is, so I want it to be known, but I kind of do know what it is in this play. And the wow, though, the wow factor is going to be when the Fisher person, I'll just say wow factor. Like there's just going to be a moment where the story turns, or plot twist. Yeah, that fits that. Wow factor, plot twist. And I'll talk about it. That is going to be when the Fisher person, so there's a huge storm, the Fisher person is going to be coming in. I'm imagining where the climax would be, but the Fisher person comes in from being lost at sea. They're completely drenched. There might be like kelp over them and like algae and sea plants over them and like a net. I'll set that up in a funny way. Just like completely drenched coming into the restaurant, and then they share this dream or this vision that they saw as they almost lost their life at sea. So that's going to be sort of an allegory. Oh, okay, an allegory. Because it is essentially what I'm imagining is a mundane, just kind of like as the world turns setting or feel to it. But the dialogue is going to be pointing to these sort of bigger topics like existentialism, spirituality, collectivism, as far as what are we all experiencing and where is this all leading to? So I kind of do know the allegory. This is known. But I said kinda, so it's like to be known. It's like to be known, like the allegory. Now getting into this part of literature, or just like diving into the literary aspect of it. Allegory, symbolism. I do know the symbolism. There is one that hit me actually a few days ago, and that is a bird, a raven, that maybe is there. It's there in the story, but it's not there in the plot. Ooh, okay. I know the plot. I know the story. I can say that for certain. Jam Boom Boom. What's the difference between a story and a plot? I'll tell you, my friends. Story. Okay, so let's use an example. When you are watching a show and it drops on Netflix or Hulu, the whole season drops, right? The first season drops. What is known in episode 1 is the story. So when you turn on episode 1, depending on how clever and creative the writers are, the producers, it's either going to start chronologically, it's going to start with a flashback, it's going to give you some background, it's going to introduce characters. This is character 1, this is character 2. Or it'll just dive right into it, and through the plot, you'll understand the characters, the background. So the story exists before you even turn that episode 1, season 1 on. The story exists, but what you're tuning into and what's interesting and what makes this show better than this show is the plot, how that story unfolds, the twists, the turns, even down to the aesthetics as far as the lighting, or high quality, low quality, high budget Hollywood, low quality indie, as far as just like cameras go and technology, things like that. Story exists when you turn before you turn on the show and when you turn off the TV, and the plot is what you're tuning into. The plot is what makes you go, the plot is what makes you binge. So I do know the story I don't know the plot, but I want to know the plot. So let me put that. The plot of land. Yeah, like a plot of land. Lots can be done there in a plot of land. Mega churches or farms. Allegory, symbolism. I wanted to get into this symbolism. This is going to go into to be known. Gotta have some symbolism. And the raven, maybe an oriole, but I like the idea of a raven. Like, there's this raven that comes and visits the waiter damn near every day. But because it is a rainstorm that day, the waiter doesn't see the bird. And this is maybe an inner dialogue that happens with the waiter, like, my bird isn't here. I wonder if the bird's okay. But knowing what the allegory of a bird, the representation of that, a higher thought, wanting to escape, setting sails for the wind, going the distance. This could then explain the plight of the waiter, someone who has to wait. Damn, this is good. This is good. This is the big house, but this is essentially how it happens. And I don't want to keep this video too long because I do actually there's like writing and doing it and practicing it, and then there's like speaking about it. So this is essentially what teaching is. You practice it, you talk about it, you explain it, and then you practice it for yourself. So this is something that I was doing internally. Just like the biggest thing though, and I'm so glad that I did this method, because the biggest thing that gets me caught up as a creator is just like the unknown. I get so twisted. I'd be like, damn, I want to know this. I want to know that. But there's no way to know until you put marker to post-it, pen to pad, until you actually get into that space that you have to derive these ideas and embracing that. Look, sure, this is cool to know stuff, but look at what's to be known. Shit, there's a lot that we don't fucking know. And again, going back to that like philosophical, like knowing and being certain of things, you know, this is incredible because now I have a lot to work with as far as solving. If you want to look at it that way, you want to solve that. There's a lot that is unknown. So I'm gonna take these last few minutes to just think internally, because now that you know the process, you know my process of going about this, I'm just gonna think internally and just put up some things. So yeah, known, unknown, to be known. That's more of story. I do know the form. I know that I want it to be an audio play and a stage play. To be known, I do know who I would like to participate, but because I don't know the number of characters, yeah, I'll say collaborators. It's like I have an idea, but depending on how this process and this flow goes, this might change. So collaborators, that's what that says. So this is to be known. And then I do know the form, which is an audio play and a stage play. You know what I do know? I do know my influences. And I'll get into that tomorrow. I'll get into that tomorrow, collecting data, which will just be on the internet, and materials. So I do know my influences, and I've been singing SZA all day, and the cover. So I do know the influences. Well, influences, and then I also say inspirations. Spontaneity, baby. That's what we do here at the Big Boom Theory. Inspirations. That's another word. The cover for SZA's album SOS is literally water. And then I read that it was inspired by a picture of Princess Diana when she was sitting on the diving board and it was just like water. I'm like, gone, gone girl, gone girl. R.I.P. Princess Diana, she is gone. But, you know, that song too, Gone Girl. You better learn how to face it, she gone, gone girl, gone girl. Gone Girl. To be known, soundtrack. I want a soundtrack for this play. And that goes into just expanding my, how I go about marketing my own thing. Because, you know, let me be careful. You know, this, honestly, this is something that can be done with an entire team of people. But me building from the ground up and not necessarily having people in my environment who has the time to just do stuff like this, making this their full-time passion, like working with schedules, I'll just do it on my own. And then we're going to bring together that team of creatives who are down for the nitty gritty, down to like be in the stew like this before it gets glamorous and we're promoting and we're number one on Billboard, box office, all that. Like being here, I mean, like this is not glamorous at all. Look at me. I look like, this looks like Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know. Shout out to Whoopi Goldberg, but I don't know. You know, I look like turtle. But you know, we're gonna get glamorous when we do the, you know, the stage reading and the short films and all that. But this is what I'm getting to, is that this process of creating, this process of just being in the stew and being behind the scenes. So I'll do some more. I'll keep this video nice and short. You know what? Let me sum up right now because we're about to hit the 30-minute mark. So in devising and creating, again, I'm titling this the Big Boom Theory, but you can title it whatever you want. This is just one of the methods of going about taking an idea that you have, whether it's something that you're fixated on, like, how am I going to go about doing this? Literally just taking what is known, embracing what is unknown, and then setting yourself on a path as far as creating and where you're going to go next to be known. And these are the starting points. These are the bricks, building to get to that final product of your art. I am Jan Boom Boom, the world premiere. And yeah, we out. I'll check y'all next time.